Good evening and welcome to the 1570th meeting of the General Student Senate, the 23rd meeting of the 45th session, which I now call to order. Notice this meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and the recording will be publicly available on YouTube. A second notice, I'm still deaf in my left ear, so let's use revision voices tonight. And I will now read the land use. The University of Maine recognizes that it is located on Marsh Island and the homeland of the Penobscot Nation. Issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, the Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Micmac, through kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes that the Penobscot Nation and the other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers of self-governance and self-determination. The clerk will now call.
Cynthia Shelmerdine.
Excuse me.
Ezekiel DeLorme.
Here.
Nate Fang.
Here.
Jordan Thompson.
Here.
I almost said it again. Hayden Buzzell.
Here.
Maggie Johnson. Here. Casper Cowan.
Here.
Joshua Baum.
Here.
Juliana Jolin. Here. Isabella Lemon. Here. Kayla Kearns.
Excuse me.
Matthew Weber.
Here.
Nor Ulan. Vassar Harvey.
Here.
James Reader Stewart.
Excuse.
Marcus McLean.
Here.
Bo Mishu.
Here.
Meredith Waters. Here. Darren Martin. Kyle Ricker.
Present.
Zachary Kellogg.
Here.
Ethan Crowdy.
Here.
Hazel Sparks. Here. Alan Villa.
Here.
Taylor Stanford.
Excuse.
Keegan Tripp.
Here.
Mikey Peterson.
Here.
Oliver Waugh.
Here.
Dylan Lehman.
Here.
Neil Rocky.
Here.
Elizabeth Oldfield. Here. Abby Downer. Here. Zoe Stankovic. Here. Olivia Britton. Here. Riley Mills.
Here.
Dylan DeMerchant.
Here.
Amanda Levesque. Here. Jacob Harkless.
Saucy.
Anna Blanchett. Here. Zachary Wentworth.
Excuse.
Joan Guzman.
Here.
Casper Leah.
Here.
Tyler Duncan Baez.
Here.
Danny Tanaka.
Here.
And Lori Sudoku.
Now looking for approval of the November 5th, 2024 minutes on this agenda. The new Senator DeLorme.
I move to approve the November 5th, 2024 minutes. Second.
Hearing a second, if that is the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Moving on to Robert's Rules tip of the week. What have we not done? How about a motion to take up a previously tabled item? You do so by saying, I move to take from the table, yada, yada, yada. You cannot interrupt the speaker. It does need a second. You don't debate or amend it, and it needs a majority to pass. Moving on to general good and welfare, any non-member of the General Student Senate may address, any non-member may address the General Student Senate for not more than 5 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move into new senators, officer appointments and resignations. This accidentally was not put on the agenda, but we have James Reader Seward resigning from his Maine Business School Senate seat. Next, in club maintenance, I'd like to invite Magic the Gathering for preliminary recognition.
Hello, my name is Baxter. I'm the vice president of the Magic the Gathering Club. We meet to play Magic, collectible card game, and we're seeking funding to hold events likely once a month to draw more players in, as well as allow our current members more variety in how we play. We have a body of about 10 people who will meet consistently, as well as maybe 5 more who appear at some meetings. I don't have much prepared. I can take questions or answer that.
Are there any questions for the speakers, Senator DeLorme?
How much do you think you'd be looking for, like?
This event is expected to be about $150, which we're approximating a month. We can do bi-monthly or every 2 months.
Senator Baum?
What do you think you'd be spending this funding on for your student?
This funding, you'd be getting kits of cards that this is hard without people who have played We're getting booster boxes of cards that people can play a unique game mode with. Students, members would not be taking home the cards. That would be a consideration we have to make as well.
Senator McLean.
Do you have any plans for fundraising?
For fundraising, an option that we could do right now, without seeking external funding is we could ask our members to buy in which case they would pay $15 or $20 an event and then take home their cards. That's an alternate option that you can support.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what's the committee's recommendation?
301 on the pass.
Senator Barber.
Motion to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second, if that is the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Any discussion? Any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. I'd like to invite Bear Esports for preliminary review.
Hello, I am Sophie Hurst. I am coming here on behalf of Blackberry Esports. A little background on me, I was my high school esports captain and have a strong passion for esports. I've been doing this sort of thing for quite a while. We are Blackberry Esports. Our mission is to provide a healthy space to compete in esports such as Smash Bros. Ultimate, CSGO or Valorant, Rocket League. During the remainder of the fall 2024 semester, we're intending to keep competition limited to within school events. However, after a little time gaining our footing, we are going to be talking to organizations / leagues like I think NACE is who we're going to be talking to. They do collegiate competitions with other schools. We will be affiliated with the esports arena. I do have yet to set up that meeting, considering recognition's not yet been granted. We do have many members, I'm assuming 20 to 30 at least. I just have not put those people in campus groups, so they have not shown up yet. We're going to host a lot of events on campus and we will likely not need funding until fall 2025 or maybe late spring 25.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speaker? President Turk.
I'm just curious, because obviously you're not formally affiliated with the esports arena yet, but do you guys currently utilize the space?
We do not currently utilize the space, no, but again, we have plans to. It is somewhat required for good connectivity to play certain games.
I have a follow-up question. Have you been to the esports arena?
I've been to the esports arena,
Is it like adequately set up for an esports team?
yes.
Awesome. Good to know.
Senator Wicker.
What's your favorite esport?
My favorite esport, Smash Brothers Ultimate. I've been actually competing in it for about 2 years now. I've set up tournaments for it before. The scene here in Maine is lovely.
Any other questions for the speaker? Senator Bond.
Do you think you'll pursue in the future becoming a sports club?
Becoming a sports club, that is the intent with what we have right now. Again, we don't have recognition and we have not talked to any organization, so we cannot be considered a team yet. But give it a few months, we will absolutely be doing that, pursuing that.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what's the committee's recommendation?
400 up to pass.
Senator Weber.
Motion to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Hearing a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, it's adopted. Any discussion? Any debate? VP Rocky.
I think this is great. I think a lot of colleges have esports teams. I think it'll be awesome for organized groups to get a lot of use out of the esports. So, yeah.
President Tripp.
To echo that, we've been trying to get an esports team started, at least since I was a senator here, to utilize the esports arena that student government has paid a lot for. So I'm excited to see it. And also when it comes time and you guys are on your feet, please let me know and I can help you with the sport club stuff.
Director. Oh, I just had a brain fart, I'm so sorry. Director of Technology.
Yeah, I gotta like, improve my Smash Bros game, so I think this would be great to pass. So, yeah,
Any other points for debate?
Do you mind if I make a slight comment?
Absolutely.
We are hosting. This is not through campus groups, but it is officially recognized by Colleen Fraser. We are hosting an event in Furland 214 this Friday for Smash Bros. Ultimate. There will also be Street Fighter 6, and I think one person is bringing Melee. Doors open 5:30. Bracket starts at 6. Furland 214. If you are interested, please come.
Awesome. Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. But invite the Bureau Journal of Policy, Society, and Global Affairs for preliminary recognition. Good evening, welcome to student government. If you could just introduce yourself.
Great to be here, guys. My name is Neil Rocky. I'm the president of the Dirigo Journal. This is my treasurer, Vassar Harvey. Nice to meet you all. It's a pleasure, yeah. So basically, we are an undergraduate journal for mostly like focused on international affairs, politics, but then also just very broadly like social issues. We want to do like basically have a platform for students in these disciplines to submit their work and do like academic writing and research writing, that sort of thing, and to be able to have that published somewhere. So what we're planning on doing in that regard is like a dual form publication, or we have a website and we're gonna do like maybe like bi-weekly articles, like shorter form stuff, op-eds, interviews, stuff like that. And then we're aiming for either on a semester basis or on a yearly basis, depending on interest. Like a full journal type publication with like long form research papers and whatnot. Yeah, I think you want to compete with the newspaper. I don't know about that, but this is something that a lot of colleges have, and we just really want a platform for, I know like a lot of kids in my major are really motivated and interested in this kind of thing, so want to have a medium for that.
Awesome. Are there any questions for the speaker, President Kirk?
I'm just curious on what, if any, department buy-in you have for this.
Yeah, so we have like we have a like kind of like we're trying to like create like almost like an editorial board or a board of advisors of like professors who can review the longer form stuff. And we've got a lot of professors in international affairs and poli-sci who are interested in doing that. And then we've also been reaching out to people in like the English department, that sort of thing. In terms of like funding and like that regard, we don't have anything, but we also don't really need much like that right now.
Senator Sparks.
I have two questions. One for the politics and getting into that, would you have someone to screen for like opinionated and also fact checking?
So, sorry.
So when you get into politics and other topics like that, would you have someone screen for opinionated things and fact checking?
Oh yeah, well yeah, opinionated things are cool because like that's fine. Yeah, if people want to post or write op-eds about things, I mean that's totally cool. Fact checking, yeah. So the like editors. We've got a few people who are like in club leadership that are gonna be like the editors in chief and whatever, and we're gonna, when we publish stuff, obviously make sure it's the veracity and everything.
And then I have another question. So for research papers, let's say someone wants to post their psych research, would you bring in a psych professor to look over it?
Oh yeah, if we could, but yeah, that'd be the goal.
Representative Levesque.
How interdisciplinary do you plan on making it? Because as a history major, I know a lot of history majors intersect with poli-sci and international affairs, so how intersectional are they?
Yeah, mad interdisciplinary. Crazy. Yeah, so like me and Miles, like our original goal was just a journal for politics and international affairs, but then we threw in the society in there because we know that there aren't a lot of journals like these on campus, and obviously there's students in other writing intensive majors that like want to be able to publish stuff. So yeah, if they want to join campus groups.
Any other questions from speakers? Senator Bowman.
Have you considered reaching out to Cougar for like, when it comes to publishing and getting peer or professors to advise you or be on your board of review?
No, we should not.
Any other questions from speakers? Senator Sparks.
more of a comment, but if you want to find professors, let me know because I can reach out to the faculty summit and get a bunch of people. I'm sure there's a lot of people willing to join.
Awesome, that's great, thank you. We appreciate that.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what's the committee's recommendation?
400 out to pass.
Senator Blumer,
I move to approve these recommendations.
Second.
hearing a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Any discussion? Any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? In a clear majority, that passes. Club maintenance, we will now move into club presentations with the physical education student organization presenting on the funding they received for their conference in the Samoset Resort in Rockville. Welcome.
I'm Alexa Peck. I'm the president of the Physical Education Student Organization. Everybody who attended the conference, we ended up having 14 students attend. Really enjoyed it. We appreciate all the funding greatly. Students all attended 14 different sessions, informational sessions with different physical education and health education professionals at various different levels, including 3 student-specific presentations, one about the lay resume, one about how to interview well, and one from the Maine Education Association, which was very nice and special. We appreciated being able to stay in the hotel and not have to spend a large amount of money on gas getting there and back. So thank you for that money and money for registration. It was a great success in our books and it recruited a lot of members who plan to stay in the club and make that trip happen again next year.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speaker, President Tripp?
I'm curious on how you're going in terms of the things that you've learned. Are there plans to kind of take and bring it into those who didn't go?
The majority of our members did go.
Great.
Yeah, there really aren't any who didn't go.
There you go.
There are a couple, but they don't attend meetings regularly. So we will have some review sessions, like we didn't meet last week because it's right after the conference, but we'll be meeting tomorrow and we'll discuss the conference, reflecting on it. Personally, a group of my friends within the club who went to the conference, we've already had several homework nights where we've used what we learned and rebuilt our resumes and practiced interviewing. It's been very helpful.
Any other questions for the speaker? Senator Bohm?
You feel talking about your experience could be a good way of recruiting new members in it for the future?
Definitely. That's how I've recruited most of the people who went this year. Yes. We'll continue to talk about.
Representative Blank?
What was your favorite part?
My favorite parts were the student specific sessions with the resume session and the interviewing session were with a past president of Shape America, which is the national board of physical and health education professionals who set out the standards each year, update the standards for physical and health education. And so as a past president, she had a lot of insight into obviously how to be a good health and physical educator, but also how to build a good resume that people who are hiring will want to look at and stand out in an interview.
Any other questions for the speaker? VP Oldfield?
Not a question so much as a comment, but if you have pictures, I would love to have them.
Okay, I sent them to somebody named Sarah from the money form that I filled out. National Fund.
There are no Sarahs.
In the old email.
I can send them to you.
Perfect.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you so much and keep up the great work. Next, I'd like to invite our guest speaker of the evening, Officer Jamie Gilder from UMSG.
So I'm super informal, and forgive me if I wander, but I'm not a podium guy. My name is Sergeant Dover. I am new to the area. I'm gonna kind of introduce myself a little bit because my reason for speaking tonight is threefold. First is to build a bridge between us and the student body by way of getting to know you guys and your different committees and groups. UMaine PD is about being members of the community, not just cops on campus. So one of my specialties is dealing with community policing. So I'm here to meet you guys, and you guys get to know me. Being members of the community, I wanted to talk about two projects that we're working on. Well, that one's mostly done, as you guys have seen. And so the first one is Black Bear Safe. Do any of you guys have this on your phones yet?
I do.
I hope you do. You helped design it, right? So Black Bear Safe, if you don't have it on your phone, I highly recommend it because it is immensely useful. I'm not gonna know what's on each slide because I didn't create it. So you can kind of just go through it but I'll talk about the different features. One of the main features I like is, say you guys went out to, you can skip all that. Went out to a party or you're out walking late at night and you get creeped out for whatever reason. You can do what's called a friend walk, which is you call one of your friends on the app and they can virtually watch you walk on the phone until you get back to your dorm or your residence or wherever you are. Now say that's 2 or 3 in the morning and you don't want to bother your friend and wake them up because, you know, maybe they go to bed like an old person like me at 9. You can do what's called a virtual walk and our dispatcher can watch you walk live to your dorm or your room or whatever. And as soon as you say you arrive safe, it severs the connection and we know you're there, okay. You guys know the blue lights around campus. You can do what's called a mobile blue light. You're out on the trail and you get lost and you hit the mobile blue light. It'll give us your GPS location. We can come find you and help you. Or, you know, someone's falling or whatever. You can also talk to us 911 at the same time. You can call 911 from this app. It has a map, which is actually student suggested at the beginning of the year. Why isn't there a map? So we added a map. It has all of the local Old Town Bangor, Orono, UMaine, all of the contacts in there. It's got a whole section from Res Life. I believe there's email contacts and stuff like that in there. Am I forgetting anything more?
I think that's good.
But it's a really nice one to have. Of course, it's on the Machias campus as well.
How do I call it and have you give me a ride?
Yeah, no, not happening. Unfortunately. So that's an initiative that we've been growing and getting going. And the more of you guys that have, you guys can anonymously report on there. You can report with your name. You can do a number of things in there that are really helpful. And it's out there. It's mostly just with you all in mind so that we can help you in any way we can. I talk fast apparently. Any questions about this as we're going? No?
Is there a certain part you want me at, by the way, or you just keep going?
You can I pretty much have covered all this without the slides, but I mainly wanted to see that main first page with the buttons and stuff so they could see what it looked like.
Okay, yeah,
So really, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and switch to your Instagram now.
got it. All right, 1 second here. I'm old.
Maybe. And the second one down, if you want to click that one for me. This is our friend. His name is Major the Comfort Canine out of York, Kansas. He's an English Labrador. He came to visit us a couple weeks ago now. And Comfort Canines are kind of new to law enforcement. Their whole job is to get petted. I mean, who doesn't want that job, right? So the idea behind Comfort Canines came from Florida. There was a deputy who was getting his doctorate, and he used Comfort Canines to help juvenile victims disclose what happened to them. And there was a 90%-ish increase when the dog was in the room on what information the juvenile would give as opposed to when it's not there. So it's immensely helpful with victims, with mental health cases, just settling into the dorms the first couple of weeks, finals week, things of those natures, veterans, so on and so forth. So Major came down to visit us and we did presentation in front of several people because it is our goal to get 2 for UMaine. There's only 1 on patrol in the whole state right now. Mental health is a passion project of mine. I'm actually here taking psychology classes along with you all. So, our goal is to try to get 2 of these, 1 for the day shift and 1 for the evening shift. And we feel like the way this would work is at 8 weeks old, we'd actually get the canine, they'd start coming to live with us here. The school would own them. Yes, I know it sounds sad to say it like that because they're a dog, but they are a tool. They would be on patrol. They'd come out on calls with us. There's 2 canine handlers that we would assign 1 dog each. They would go home with them. They'd come here. And as long as that canine handler was with UMaine, that dog would be with them and come to all their calls, assuming that there's not an issue with someone being afraid of the dog. The breeder we're looking at is English Labradors. They are a little bit shorter, a little stockier, but they are tested starting at 5 weeks to see if they are adaptable to that kind of a role. But part of the reason I'm also here is because I would like to recruit somebody from this board to help us in the project of getting these 2. I will let you all discuss who that will be, and you guys can get with me. But that's what I'm here to speak about. Are there any questions about this?
Excellent, thank you. Are there any questions for the speaker, Senator Sparks?
How many dogs are you looking to get?
We're hoping to get 2.
Any other questions for the speaker? Senator Waters?
How much does your vest with all the gear on it weigh?
About 30 pounds.
Is that heavy?
I've been
Like,
doing
does
this
it-
for about 23 years, so it's almost weird not to have them.
Okay.
Afterwards, if you like, you can feel it if you want.
Oh, I'm all good.
Okay.
President Long?
Yeah, when you say you want a student to help you with this project, what would that entail specifically?
What that would probably entail on this end is to just help maybe write a letter of how you see it would benefit the programs and stuff here at this university, how it would help. Of course, there'd be some education. We'd teach you more about what this is about. But then you could take that into your role and determine how that could help drum up interest, things like that.
Advisor Sedona?
So I think one way, just knowing you all and the way that you can be helpful in this is that student voice is really important. And we've been talking about mental health issues quite a bit. And so I think in the whole, there's a strategizing team that the police are putting together to try and kind of figure out how this would work, because they have to have special things for their cars, and they have, like, the dog needs to be safe, and the 2 handlers, yes, they're both trained handlers of police dogs, but they also have to be trained too. So it's important that this be something that the whole campus wants, not just that the police want. And so if this is something that you already are starting to feel passionate about, you would, especially if Major was in the room, but we just got Officer Dover, so. But I think that's kind of what, does that help?
Yes.
I think that's kind of what it is. It's about strategizing and sitting with a team of people to think about how can we use these dogs? How will it help the students? What does that mean? I mean, I think about some of the things that have happened just in this building. We've had students who have had seizures. We've had students who have had breakdowns. We've had students who have had all sorts of things that have happened. And if a canine unit responded with an officer, it would become safe. And so that's kind of the thing. If you feel that way, then you might be a good person to be on the team.
I think, obviously, I'd imagine a lot of people want this role. But to compound on this, we have not sent out an act to urge this year from the Senate as a whole. So if we wanted to do a group right thing, I think that would be a really fun way to go about it. But we'll talk about it more, not during a meeting.
I think we've got a lot of really good resources I saw a whole lot of people's faces start to glow.
That's generally the reaction I get when we start talking about this, you know, that kind of thing. And the nice thing, there are some concerns, like someone sees an officer walk in with a dog and it's not immediately, hey, this is a comfort canine. That's some of the things that we'd want to be able to address, and this dog is not going to be a search dog, an attack dog, an EOD dog. This is purely for victims and mental health. And it's what she was talking about when Major came to visit. Literally, we walked out of the car and within 30 seconds, we had 8 people petting the dog. And that's the goal of this dog, is to do that. And the idea also is that this dog would be here at 8 weeks old and would grow with the university. So especially like next year's freshman class, it would grow with them and we could mark special kid 1 year old, things like that. And we just see, I just see pictures of a little black lab named Bear. And, another one maybe yet to be picked by the student body, name wise. I don't know, maybe. And just, 8-week-old puppy with bananas. I mean, or at a football game or at a hockey game or on the ice or walking across the stage like the robots did. Graduation last year. Whatever.
Any other questions from the speaker? Senator Sparks?
How would you deal with allergies?
That would be one of the concerns. Basically, before the canine would come into a call, you would ask them if they like dogs or they would like a dog in the room. And if they say no, dogs. You have to be respectful of that.
Senator Fang?
Is 581-4040 the non-emergency line? Does it call the same line?
It's a non-emergent line because it's not 911,
Right.
but that's our 911 dispatch is 4040, yes.
It goes to the same line as if I call 911?
Depends on what phone you call on. If you call on from a phone in here and you call 911, it would go to that dispatch center and they would answer 911, what's your emergency? If you call 581-4040 or just 14040, they'd say, Humane Police. But usually if you call 911 on your cell phone, it goes to PRCC, which is the county, and then they would transfer it to us.
Okay.
Senator Ricker?
Thank you for the so as you may know, with the weather getting colder, and especially if there'll be a bunch of students out at night, like especially like in the snow and such, it'd be frankly more dangerous than it is in September, October. Do you foresee UMPD increasing patrolling or the patrols going adequate to the kind of comfortable students out and like
We currently have 3 officers out at night and they're patrolling often. They're supposed to go to all the dorms, and we're supposed to drive around, so they are supposed to be around. I don't see that number going up, just because of costs. But for the size of this campus, 3 being out is pretty accurate. And then if we need help, we always have Orno in Old Town that can also come assist if say someone got lost or something like that.
Representative DeMerchant?
Yeah, so for the comfort dog, or like this, the students who like come in and help with this program, when would you want answers for that?
I'm hoping very quickly, because frankly, I'd like to have a meeting with the chief and everything within the next week to get this kicked off and going, because who knows when they're gonna have a litter, they could have one ready now, or they could be a couple months down the road. I think the quicker we get on this, the quicker we get one on campus, the quicker it starts assisting people.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the speaker? Representative Lebeck?
Just really quick, not to take more time, but have you spoken to anybody in like student life or res life yet about that? Because having RAs on board, and maybe this is something that whoever is going to be involved in the student side of things can help with, but having RAs on board and like the people who are running student life could help.
So yes, resident life is very involved. The police department actually falls under resident life. So they're very involved with this. About half the team right now is res life, as well as counseling center. There's another student from UVAC. The academic lead for athletics, so on and so forth. So there's several all the way around. But yes, the team is coming together well. I'm just looking for one more piece.
Excellent. Senator Cowan?
I wanted to contact you with a couple questions that probably require more in-depth answer. Do you have an email?
I will leave my stack of cards here. with somebody, and if they run out, I can always bring more.
Any other questions of the speaker?
I've already taken
No, that's too much paperwork.
Seeing none, I'd like to thank you again for making the time to visiting. I have no doubt that we've got plenty of people that are more than interested in this, so thank you. We will now move into executive reports, Senator Ritters.
I motion to restrict all individual reports to a maximum time of 3 minutes.
Second. Aaron, second, that's the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. All reports, employment. Oh, and also you're free to stay or go, you can watch the rest of the meeting, like, too. We will now move into executive reports. Each report will be timed at 3 minutes max, starting with the president.
All right, a few things to run through. Number one, student government is still participating in the It's Personal campaign. We have a box outside of the student government offices. We'll have it there until November 22nd. Please bring extra personal care items. It goes for a good cause. Two, VPSO applications are going well. We now have 5 applicants. An update about this, I'm gonna close that application tomorrow night now. That's a change from Friday night. I didn't consider the fact that I needed time to also schedule and do the interviews. So I'm gonna do them over Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday and Sunday if I have to. But I'm very optimistic about finding a candidate, and the interest period has been open for 2.5 weeks now. So I think it's adequate time. But if anybody has any genuine problem with that, please reach out. We can make it work, I promise. Moving forward, next meeting, the main campus will be taking pictures for the articles for the next rest of the semester, so be aware of that. As well as I'll be finalizing club storage and working with the DOC to do a fun little video about that. Moving forward, I've scheduled all the meetings for VPSO. I will be attending academic affairs this week. I was ill last week, so sorry about that. We'll be doing that this week, and I've already sent a meeting, an email to Associate Provost Mazzilli about following up about the syllabus bank. New business, I followed up on concerns about the student involvement in the strategic re-envisionment project. I hadn't heard anything. I sent an email to Dean Data as well as a few others. I followed up and I heard back today. So hopefully we will be involved in cabinet level briefings on that. I can bring that to you. Had a productive meeting with Nursing International. They were very receptive about the situation and are excited to help let us help them in other ways. Met with Maine campus editor-in-chief today to talk about UMSG and the weekly meetings and whatnot. Senators, you have until Thursday to finish the Google form that she sent out. If you are not on that, you won't be included. I think that's been adequate time, so please get that in. Bunch of things with the housing master plan, but basically what you need to know, and I can expand on this more if someone wants to ask me about it. But they're going to be moving into reporting it to the president, which means things are going to start being kind of moved into the next phase. And I've been promised by VP Sparks that there will be some sort of town hall forum between ourselves and GSG to get some student feedback on that in the 3 kind of varying degrees that they're looking at. And then the last thing is, if this meeting isn't too long, I would like to have an impromptu 5-ish minute conversation about the activity fee and those things, because I can feel the kind of anxiety building up already about it. And I would like to sit down and make sure we're all on the page moving forward, just to have like an open discussion about where I'm at with that. So yeah, thank you. End of report.
Moving into my report, starting in 3 minutes. I've begun to shuffle around my office hours. I will now be available on Wednesdays from 10 to 11:30. I will also be available from 3:30 to 6 on Tuesdays going forward, which does run out my 10 hours. Please keep in mind, however, that these office hours are open door, as President Trump and I promised to the constituency. However, these are open doors meant for students who don't necessarily have the resources that the people in this room might have, and meant more for business of urgency and haste, or just lack of being tied into business. So just when it comes down to basic office etiquette, I do ask that if you need to get in touch with any of the office workers, please try to email ahead of time. We'll always make exceptions, and like I said, it's open door, but it just comes down to now that we have so many senators and very, very productive projects going on, we just want to keep that efficiency going. I would also like to encourage all senators to keep in mind their obligations and responsibilities. Attendance in Senate and committee meetings is not the same as participation, engagement, and contribution. As we begin to transfer into a new session, I'm beginning to plan on how to enforce these obligations on behalf of my constituency and the fellow student leaders. I will continue to prioritize my role as a supporter and encourager and making sure that each of you have the resources you deserve. But once we get into the new session, a new Senate with whole new student leaders in a very big Senate, I need to figure out how to take those extra steps if necessary. And that concludes my report. Vice President for Financial Affairs.
Hey y'all, so pretty quick report. I was digging through and doing some work on like all of our sports clubs. And I found a couple who are incorrectly tiered. So next week you'll see some of that money returned to the unallocated. And then I've also been working a little bit with pay to play still, and straightening out those bills and how we should process and brought back in. And besides that, the unallocated is $56,645.66. And ABC didn't run, so we have nothing else. End of report.
Vice President for Student Organizations.
Yeah, SOC last week, we heard from two really cool clubs and one really cool club that you guys heard from all three tonight. I've been working on creating like how-to videos for the processes and stuff like that. Trying to get that finished up by the end of this week. Also spending this week, like President Tripp said, interviewing the candidates for VPSF. So please apply to that if you're interested. Look, closest tomorrow. End of report.
Vice President of Student Entertainment.
Hello, everyone. The Trevor Wallace show went well from what I would take. As for numbers, 810 student tickets were distributed, 620 were redeemed that night. If you have any thoughts on the show, I would love your feedback, good or bad. Please try to make it constructive criticism, but if you have any thoughts, please shoot me an email or stop by my office hours to give me your feedback. I think that feedback is very important to the longevity of student entertainment, and I would love your input. As for movie tickets, 247 people went last week, so under 300. We're moving on up. And then lastly, SEC meets Mondays 1 to 2, and if you want to join, please do it. End of report.
Student leadership.
Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the long weekend. I'm finishing up planning the Senate retreat, so I'll be picking the activity with the most votes and in our budget's best interest at the end of tonight. So if you have not filled in the Google form and you would like to have input on what we end up doing for our activity, fill out by the end of the night, midnight tonight. The date looks like it'll be on December 4th, but I'll get to you with time details when I hear back from Zachary Wiles about the professional development piece. This semester, the retreat is going to be more focused on development as a senator, and next semester will be more of a general professional development focus. I'm continuing work on some of the committee projects, and we'll be getting a merge order hopefully in by this Friday. End of report.
Advice on student government. Are there any questions for the speakers? Representative Merchant.
This is a question directly to President Fred on the policies. I'm so sorry, like based on the last.
You're good. I'll run through it real quick so we're all on the same plan. So essentially what they're looking at are 3 variations of a housing master plan. I think I mentioned this in an earlier report, but they are tagline, go big, go low, and go slow. These will be the 3 kind of things that are presented both to the president, the cabinet, and the kind of executive bodies that will make the decisions, as well as again, like I said, VP Sparks has promised that we will have some sort of feedback loop for the general student body. But this is the project I've been sitting on since last year, a committee that's been meeting about once a month all the way since the beginning of summer to make kind of larger scale. It's like a 40-year plan. So they're not major things. But one thing I did want to highlight that I think continues to be brought up, and I just want to quell any concerns about, U Park is safe. And all three options include a replacement for UPAR and it staying as a longevity thing. So now that we're all on the same page, look out for more information on that and ways that you guys can get involved with this kind of town hall style thing we'll be doing at some point.
Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into periodic reports, starting with the faculty senate student group.
No.
University Maine Board of Trustees rep.
So there's a board meeting that's coming Monday. It is at UMSG in the Wells Conference Center, and it starts at I get there at 7, but then citizen comment is at 8, and then the board meeting sort of scheduled stuff starts as soon as citizen comment is over. And if anyone has anything they would like to say to the board, that's probably as good an avenue as telling me. So if you want to say things to the board yourself, that's a really good way to do it. Also, President Tripp and myself are going to be meeting with the chair of the board, Trish Riley, on Sunday to sort of start conversations about finalizing a process or writing a procedure for students selecting student trustees. That's all.
I have a point of information. Do I do that now?
No, when we get to the questions. Was that in the report?
Yeah.
FPP teacher?
Hi, everyone. This week I've been asking around to other execs to try and get tasks and projects that I can help out on since Senate elections aren't happening anymore. And we also met today in FEPC to start planning the executive elections. If you have any ideas or want to be part of the planning process, please join. We meet every week 9:15 to 10:15 on Tuesdays. And it's really fun. And a report.
Student legal representative?
No report.
Graduate student senate rep?
GSG, all right. Good evening, everyone. Last week GSG met on Friday and discussed a range of subjects. The two things that had really came to mind was that the dean of the graduate school, as well as Scott Delcourt, that conversation had been put back to November 22nd to discuss in a positive order as well as the approvals. And that's just something that was stated from there. And there's also the liaison position on GSG's end is going to be open. It is being open for nominations for a 2-week period for next semester. So the current one, Harrison Field, I believe he's just not able to take on the role for next semester. So we're going to be getting a new person in 2 weeks time, at least in terms of like, no, I mean, it's going to be for next semester. So never mind.
We're now town council liaison. Does anybody have that report? I assume nobody has to report for Old Town City Council either. Cool. Military and veteran affairs. Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody have that report? No. Director of communications.
Okay, so this past week I posted another Meet the Senator Monday. I posted the first exec spotlight. And then I'm also reaching out to some clubs about doing some club highlights on our story, but then also like going to a meeting of theirs, taking pictures, that sort of thing. And then also don't fill out the form that I sent because it's broken and I'll fix it and I'll resend it. I just couldn't use Google Forms because I don't have enough space, I guess. So I was trying to figure out a different way and then I didn't know how to use the other two things. So I'll figure it out. That's it.
Director of technology.
Alrighty, howdy y'all. So I mean, I just prettied up the committee's page, if I need to, it'll say that this technically I do, but recreate the committee's page. If any of you look at your committee's descriptions and you don't like it, please update it. I will be very happy to change it for you. Because some are like very old. So yeah, if you check that out, feel free, shoot me an email if you want to. I recreated the general student Senate webpage. It looks basically the same, just like slightly prettier graphics, update some student organizations, Currently working to set it up, so the latest YouTube video is always embedded in the webpage for the Student Senate page. And shout out to DOC Downer for helping me make some flyers the other week, which they came in last week, and I was able to get them to the student life. So hope to see those around the res halls. Yeah, head of report.
Security representative? Seeing none, undergraduate research liaison?
No report.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Senator Waters?
Point of information, this Board of Trustees meeting has an executive session from 8 to 9. So citizen comment sign up is at 9 and citizen comment will be happening at 9:30. So we get to sleep in an hour next Monday.
Any questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into reports of standing committees, marketing and public relations. Membership?
Hold on again this week, but I made sure to go to Hanford to get some variety, some healthier vegetables, which I'm happy that you guys have kind of jumped on that board, on board that ship and grabbed some of that stuff. There's also apples there. And yeah, you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna try to get to Subway next week. But hopefully they're catering system, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm really going, thank you guys.
Policy and procedures?
I think we're hearing some fixes to the EBC guidelines with some grammatical and language changes, and then we're also hearing an act to urge. And then maybe a second act to urge if anyone really wants that dog on campus. End of report.
Political activism?
Yeah, so as you might have noticed, there was an election last week. Turnout was pretty good here in Orono, so that's great. All the Democrats are sad, but also relieved that Senator Tipping won his race by about 100 votes. They held a very solemn meeting last week with pastries. Nonpartisan Political Club is meeting weekly, talk about the election. I believe they're doing an event that was described to me as coloring it out, something of the sort. So that's what they're up to. I didn't get reports from any of the other political clubs. That's it.
Services?
So this week I met with Dean Brand, the head of the bookstore. There was some changes coming to AMP. So essentially the publishers, which make up the umbrella or make up the umbrella of AMP, are, making the university charge or asking the university for more money to use their services. So they're trying to deal with what to do with the price increase. So right now, the 239 doesn't include the sales tax. The bookstore just kind of eats that. And now they thought to make up for it to add the sales tax instead, so it's still 239 plus sales tax. So I had being that, I made sure to be like, hey, this is how we can do it, so students don't see it as a hidden fee and it's transparent. But I guess that really matters anymore because I got an email today saying we are just gonna stay with 239 and they're just gonna keep the cost. And report.
Academic affairs?
Great.
Hey guys, I have my second meeting with Associate Provost Marzilli this week, so if you have any academic related concerns or questions at all, please email me or ask me in the question section. I want to bring talking points to the meeting, but my scope is limited to my single program, so I can't always tell what's concerning students in other colleges. So send me your concerns, please. End of report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Representative Merchant?
Yeah, this is directed to Senator Michaud. So for this price increase, like for these companies, what would be like the proposed price if like university decided to do such a thing, if that makes any sense?
Well, I don't know exactly how much like Pearson asked, but like I said, the original plan was right now it's 230 or 239, yeah. It would be plus the main sales tax, whatever that would be. But that's not gonna be that way anymore. It's gonna be the same way it was this semester. And they're gonna reconsider it for next year. It's because they ask for more. Who knows how these publishers are gonna act.
Are there any other questions for the speakers? VP Ling?
This one's directed at PolyPro. When are we going to be doing exec evals? Do you have a timeline on that?
Oh, sorry. What if I had one by next week and I pitched it to the Senate?
Sure.
Not my.
There will be a timeline. I have a concept of a plan.
Speakers. Seeing none, we'll move to reports to special committees, starting with student mental health,
Report because we didn't meet yesterday.
undergraduate student symposium,
Is your meeting tomorrow at 3:30?
food and dining fairs,
Wait, I just.
Together.
No, I just deleted my report back. I think that's. Okay. Jordan Thompson, Kiwi Bot. Krista, the dietitian, is pinned on Instagram. The menus have been posted on the Instagram. Feedback post-its have been placed in the dining halls. Feedback form will be posted in the next week and the report.
thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into representative board reports, starting with CAMS.
Things last week, we're currently working on some things, okay, so sorry. The one thing that I can say is that Kansas is looking into revitalizing its constitution. There's a lot of things that are either outdated, redundant, or conflict with each other. So we are currently doing that, and you'll be hearing about that hopefully by next week. Hopefully, end of report.
Honors College,
No report, but to pitch off of what President Tripp said, please donate to the It's Personal campaign. It helps a lot of people. We met with Lisa Moran about how much they need. They went through 400 personal care items in 3 weeks recently, and they have nothing left. So please donate as much as you can and get people to donate in the respective boxes. They're everywhere. There's 12 of them. Also, I sent it in the Senate chat really fast. It's a link to help table for the Maine Day meal pack out. We're doing fundraising. That's a raffle. You'll get to possibly get something yourself if you really want to. They're really cool. Yeah, that's it. End of report.
Interfraternity Council,
Yeah, tomorrow we're hosting our monthly meeting with joint advocacy and all councils.
and how?
We presented our slate last meeting and we're hoping that it passes next week. We have a good variety of chapters, so that's really good. And then our philanthropy circle of sisterhood is hosting trivia at Wells on November 19th from 7 to 10 p.m.
Senior Class Council,
So senior class council continues to meet at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays in the Beacon Alumni House. We're finalizing details for our co-op fundraiser on November 30th. Please look for more information to come on that. If you're looking for information, follow us on Instagram at UMaine 2025 Class Council. Also, I wanted to call your attention to the changes in commencement. You probably all got an email last Friday. It's officially been announced that commencement will be at the Cross Insurance Center on May 11th. With a 9 a.m. Session and a 4 p.m. session. This is different from in the past when it was at the Alfond Arena. So please just be aware of that.
and student, was that end of report? Student Athletic Advisory Council?
So some staff specific news. So November meeting is set for the 18th at 6 p.m. in the Palmer Baseball Lounge. Now for some game results. Football beat Bryant. We did it. Yeah. We did it. Men's basketball beat New Maine Forkett and Brown. Yeah. Let's go. Field hockey beat UC Davis, lost UNH in the semis. Hey, but soccer, did you see soccer? We see soccer? Yeah. American East Champions. We got some upcoming games. So men's ice hockey will face BU this weekend, Friday and Saturday at home. Be there. Football has an away game against Elon at Elon this Saturday. Women's basketball has an away game against URI tomorrow and a home game this Sunday against Harvard. Men's basketball has an away game against University of Richmond. And a home game this Sunday against Holy Cross. Come on, that's easy class. That's not like. Women's ice hockey will face Northeastern this weekend at Boston. So fingers crossed. Hopefully all those. Hopefully and a reporter.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Bone.
Just for the panhandle rep as an RA, could you ask the rest of the members of the panhandle council not to park in the fire lanes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions for the speaker, VP Rocky?
Yeah, as we go to merchants, am I like on this? That's a good question. All right, I'll frame this question. Did you know that you have to submit your revised constitution to me for approval once you finish that?
You're talking to me, right? Okay. No, like, I was just like, didn't say that. No, yeah, so the plan, like, the timeline of it is get the constitution done, make sure everyone's on board with it, then we're setting it with you, and then, like you got, like, everyone's gonna be knowing, like, at, like, the same time with you right beforehand. If that makes any sense. People will be notified when they need to be notified.
Well, as long as he gets the constitution.
No, yeah.
That's all.
No, yeah.
Other questions from the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move into community association reports, starting with Shaq.
All right, so I'm gonna start this by kind of going to club reports first. So major club news. I wanna start with Hello. So they had their Kobe College collaboration event over the weekend. And they're planning on doing other events with other Halals across the state. So continuing and fostering that connection with external organizations that correlate on different campuses, which is really awesome to see. And then Model UN had their UPenn conference with 12 members, the most they've ever taken to that conference, which is awesome. Additionally, French Club is also planning a paint and sip the next week or so, from what I was told after Thanksgiving break. And so, yeah, they were fun for that event, from what I'm being told. All right, so this is the big chunk of the report, which is the Friends and Family Feast. Where are we with that? So I'm gonna start off with this. I'm gonna start off with the menu, which was probably all you wanna hear. So we did a lot of calling this week, a lot of delegating. So I did a lot of calling. Ashley, my VP, did a lot of calling. And this is the menu we started with. So we're getting turkey from Moe's. We're getting ube and pandan cookies from Baked by Joy. So there's gonna be 384 total of those pandan cookies. So there's gonna be 8 trays of 24, 8 trays of 24 each. We're getting rice and beans from Las Palapas. We're getting vegetable lo mein from China Garden. We're getting vegetable rolls from Thai Orchid. We're getting roasted vegetables. And this is the new item that's added to the menu this time around, which is baklava. So we're getting baklava and we're getting roasted vegetables. Then we're getting aloo matar from Taste of India. And we were cognizant, so there's gonna be signage of like different allergens. So like they're gonna be like gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, vegetarian. So those will all be in the signage. What we're planning right now, communications will go out tomorrow. So the flyer is being finalized right now. We have the email templates, the formats. So what's gonna happen is Stacey's gonna do the administrative part, which is send those to administration, invite, people like Joan Fernie and John Ballin and all those guys. So Shaq is going to do the organizational contact, which is inviting you all, and then the Senate group chat. So big homework, guys. What I need organizations to do, so SAC, Panhandle, Interfraternity. I'm gonna send you all individual emails as well. So it's sending out, forwarding that email message to all of you in terms of volunteers, but also an invitation to come to the event. So you're gonna see pictures of the menu, the invitation, and the volunteer sheet. So there's gonna be stations, cleanup, serving, and just so you know, servers get first priority to eat before everybody else. So if you wanna be a server, that'll be a good opportunity. Additionally, we'll have
Next is Wildstein.
Hi, everyone. I realized that last week I said a bunch of event names and then I failed to explain that those events were for people who aren't familiar with what we do. So on November 20th at 6 p.m. on the Boca Library steps is our annual candlelight vigil for Trans Day of Remembrance. Trans Day of Remembrance is a national day to honor the lives of transgender people whose lives have been lost in hate crimes over the last year. So yeah, it's an annual event. We read out all the names and honor them. So again, November 20th, 6 p.m. to every steps. And then Day Thanksgiving is also one of our annual events. It's just generally a communal meal. There are board games, there's socializing. All everyone is welcome, whether you're a member of the LGBTQ+ community or an ally. Because, especially for people in the community, going home for Thanksgiving can be a very, very stressful and not necessarily supportive time. So Wildstein has traditionally had a meal, sort of have a more supportive, better version of Thanksgiving before break. So that will be Friday, November 22nd, from 4 to 6 p.m. Co-run, welcome to come. There'll be free food. And report.
International Student Association.
Everyone, our last cocktail hour is very successful. We featured Pakistani culture with national food presentation. They brought a huge crowd and everyone enjoyed the event. Therefore, our usual meeting yesterday due to the holiday. We'll be meeting tomorrow to plan this week's coffee hour. And thanks to the funds we raised from Culture Fest, we're now able to make our person more.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Ricker?
No questions, sorry.
Senator Fang?
What a privilege. I left something out of my report that cannot wait until special orders.
We'll get to that after. Senator or Representative Merchant.
Yeah, so this is just directed towards Representative Guzman on just like getting like that little end of report if that's possible. And like condensing it's like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, so it was just saying that the organization is gonna play a big part in getting people there. There's gonna be a ton of food, and it's gonna be a big event. But I think I just wanted to land off on the communications piece, which is gonna be critical, which is like all of your guys' homework. Which would be fantastic. Flyers are gonna be everywhere. Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be a big event, y'all, and I hope to see you over there. In the report.
Any other questions for the speakers? VP Oldfield?
Just for the ISA rep. Who presented at your coffee hour last week? Can we just do our round of
Are there any other questions from the speakers? Seeing none, we'll circle back to the food and dining.
I found out information that cannot be said during public session, but it's also not important at all, so I will leave it up to the discretion of the Senate if they would like to motion to hear it later. It's not crucial, but I cannot say it during public session.
Any other questions for the speaker, President Tripp?
For that, can you let me know?
Yeah.
And then we'll decide depending on, because
Okay.
it's
not
gonna be like
important.
a quick, it's just, okay.
But it's all, like, attendance will take longer than I have to say, but attendance is annoying.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, if it's Senator Ricker.
I make a motion to strike the 5-minute recess from this agenda.
Second.
Here in a second, if that's the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Any discussion? Any debate? Senator Thompson?
Honestly, I love the recess, but we have like 5 to 10 minutes left in this meeting, so.
Cool. Any new points for debate? Representative Merchant?
I'd like to push back on that. Point of information, it's 7:09 and recesses are one thing that kind of like gives us some breathing room instead of just having the entire meeting as a blur. And also given the fact that if we go into the executive session, we might end up going into like a 30-minute conversation. So let's have the recess, please.
Any new points for debate? Representative Tanaka?
How to use that.
Any new points for debate? VP Lehman?
I personally think that we should have a 10-minute recess every. Or a 10-minute recess instead of striking the recess.
Great. Any new points for debate? President Kurt?
I think we're encroaching on 5 minutes.
Yeah. Great. Are there any new points for debate? Great. All those in favor of striking the 5-minute recess from the agenda? All those opposed? All those abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that does pass.
I make a motion to admit discussion on a new business led by President Tripp on the topic of student activity.
Could you please repeat that?
I make a motion to add on a new business, a 10-minute discussion led by President Tripp on the topic of student activity. Oh, sorry, led by Vice President.
No, you're right. Like number 5.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Cool. Do I hear a second? Second. If that is the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Any discussion on suspending the rules for the 5-minute discussion? Any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that does. Now, under new business, there's a 5-minute discussion led by President Frick. There's nothing on the consent agenda, no unfinished business, so we will move into new business. I now give the floor to President Frick.
All right, so, as I said last week,
I'm also setting the 5-minute time. After he's done talking, we'll set the 5-minute time.
no, well, no. Get started. Okay. Hi, guys. Like I started kind of preface last week, EBC is gonna be taking a long, hard look at the financial policies and also what it looks like moving forward and seriously considering raising the activity fee. I want to make a few things clear that seem to have gotten lost in translation. Any sort of raise to the activity fee will have to go to an entire student body vote. It has to, by policy. It's not going to be stepped through by anything. So I want that to be known, that any change to the activity fee will be approved by the entire student body during our executive elections. The second thing I want to talk to you all about is kind of the general gist of my thinking and timeline of redoing the financial policies, starting with Senator Waters mentioned a rewrite of the financial policies. This weekend, for whatever reason, I decided to sit down and line for line rewrite the financial policies. The changes I made were entirely structural and formatting. What I actually started to tackle was taking it on both formatting and policy changes, and then boy, did that get really complicated really quickly. And I lost the plot of it, so I scratched that and decided that I'm gonna do it in 2 phases. The first one is gonna be that just format grammar update. I'm gonna drop that into the Senate chat for you all to see. It's gonna pass through Polycron, it'll pass through here. You can double check it. I implore you to do so, but it has not made any changes to policy. I found it very interesting. It was a very interesting deep dive into certain things, and it really did allow me to kind of reflect on what we need to change. And I've started that process in a separate doc of adding the kind of going through, and it's going to start with EBC as the core group. That's going to start kind of picking apart and really considering some major changes or any changes to the financial policies. But when it comes to policy, you all will see that. What I want to open the rest of the 5 minutes for, and if it needs to be longer, it can be longer, but we are on track of having a pretty short meeting, and I think we should keep it that way. We don't get them often. I want to just open the floor for any questions you guys have about the activity, the way it works, the way things are. I want to be here at VPFA, I'm sure can answer some questions. But I want to make sure we're all on like kind of the same page moving forward as to kind of where we're headed and why we're heading in this direction. And obviously, there's a lot of explaining that needs to be done, especially to the student body. And I recognize that, and I am working on that. There will be an op-ed sent out that I'm going to be bugging Advisor Sedelko and a few others to kind of send to the student body, but it's going to kind of outline these thoughts so that everybody's on the same page. That's kind of like my word jumble. Is there anything you guys want to ask me?
2 minutes left, by the way, Senator Waters.
It'll only pass Polypro if people show up to vote on it.
That's also true. That's also very true.
Senator Bishop.
Do you have any idea how much you want to raise the activity fee?
So like I said last time, I'm looking at some raise between $0 and to $100 cap. Currently, right now, the activity fee, our activity fee is actually one of the lowest in the region, including comparatively to other institutions. For instance, UNH's is a yearly fee of $99, but they're part-time students. Here, you do not pay the activity fee if you pay less than if you attend for less than 6 credit hours. At UNH, you pay half a price, right? So that makes your budget much bigger, right? So we have to kind of look at like the kind of legitimacy of we're already, our budget is much smaller just starting out as other institutions because of the baseline being so low. Does that make sense? So that does have a lot to do about kind of the prices and the things that we're paying for, and honestly, how well we have been able to make this money stretch in the past comparatively to other schools and institutions. I think we're doing a really good job, but we're getting to a point where that bottom line is hitting a wall, right? We don't have that wiggle room anymore.
40 seconds, Senator Weber.
What would the timeline look like if it is done?
Absolutely. So obviously any change to the activity fee, and I do implore anybody to make this longer if we want to have this conversation now, because I think we need to. But the way it would look like is a vote to the student body during executive elections. So nothing in stone could happen until our elections next semester. But in terms of making clearer policy changes, I'm looking at passing this format revision and then diving straight into it, and hopefully by the end of winter break, having something to present to you all in the form of some sort of fiscal responsibility act, so that we can hit the ground running and have a case long before we send it to a vote.
That concludes the 5-minute discussion. Do I hear a motion to add 5 minutes, Senator Bone?
I would add 5 minutes.
Second. If that's the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted. Any discussion? Any debate? All in favor of adding 5 minutes, all opposed, all abstaining, seeing a clear majority, that passes. 5 minutes starting now. Are there any other questions for the speaker, Senator DeLorme?
How long has it been since we've raised our activity fee?
Yep. So the activity fee is by policy, when it is put to a vote, you can't raise it for 2 years, whether it passes or fails. This year is the year that we can raise it again. It was raised 2 years ago, exclusively on CPI, which is inflation, like just on like inflation index. However, that itself has already changed. And we've also changed our spending practices pretty crazily in between. So any kind of leeway that we gained with that raise is pretty much iterated already. And so 2 years. Put some context there.
Representative Merchant?
Yeah, so, sorry, no, so we're getting the word out for the student body, and like, I'm assuming that like you and many other members are wanting to at least raise the student activity fee, whatever degree. What are gonna be the tactics that are gonna be employed to get students in favor of raising the student activity bill?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
So like I said, I want it to be very clear, and I want to make the statement now so that, and I made it last time, but I want to clarify. I can run this organization on the budget that we have right now. I can run the organization on $3 million extra, right? That's not the problem. The problem is not making it run. The problem is what happens if we don't raise the activity fee, right? Each year things and the things that we already cover are becoming more and more expensive. It's getting to a point where it's not sustainable, so there has to be cuts. I'm sorry. I had the question, well, why can't we not change anything? Prices are changing. If there was a third option where I could make money up here, trust me, I would have already done it. It doesn't exist. So it's a kind of a situation where things do cost more, but additionally, and I want this to be very clear, there is more of a demand on student government these days. 2 years ago, when we were 7 senators strong, and about pretty much only sport clubs understood how to request funding, we had an unallocated that wasn't being pushed and pulled in so many directions. Is that equitable? Is that an equitable way to do it? No, right? I came in and I said, a lot of us, when I came in, saw that. We saw it as inequitable because there was a group of students who had the ability to access this funds and a lot of students who didn't, right? So our goal was to increase both the transparency and the visibility of UMSG and in turn, get more students to use us. Guess what? We succeeded in that flawlessly. It's been awesome. But what that means is that the demand is bigger and the budget is smaller. Does that make sense? Is everybody following here? So that is our conundrum. So I forgot the plot of the question, which was how we're gonna get the word out. I found it. It's gonna start with the op-ed. It's going to be a letter from me. I am going to be sending it around to certain people. And I'm happy to send it to the Senate as well. And I considered making, whether we do it as a body and make this letter or as myself. I've decided it makes more sense to just do it from me and to do it in the way that I see it, because I really am impartial about this. It's totally up to the student body. Guess what? I don't want to pay more money to go to school either, but I get it. But it's a give and take. We have to decide where our priorities, what is it like moving forward. On top of the op-ed, I expect to have some sort of town hall with VP Sparks about general university budget. This is something I would like to include in that so that we can get some back and forth on that. Additionally, as we move genuinely forward with it, I'm sure I will do some sort of ad campaigns. But to kind of to get back to the thing of how we're going to convince students to want to do this. talking to the clubs who have come in for funding, talking to the clubs who rely on funding a lot on this, they're actually more amicable to the thought than I expected them to be. Starting with like Maine Outing Club and such. Obviously, it is an increased burden to students, but I do think that like a lot of people are understanding that you do have to pay more to get more, and paying a little bit more, or everybody paying a little bit more, whether that is that full $100 increase. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that that is like my range that I'm looking at. But you know, everybody paying a little bit more gives everybody more. And it's kind of, it's gonna come down to students. But that being said, it's going to change the trajectory of what we do with our budget, depending on whether the activity fee goes up, or it stays the same. Because if it stays the same, there does need to be a repositioning of priorities. Because there are groups that are currently being spent much more than they should be under this budget.
20 seconds, Advisor Sudoka, to discuss.
Has this already gone to the Board of Trustees for approval? So if you go beyond CPI, you have the Board of Trustees has to approve the adjustment. I just sent you the board policy.
Nothing's moved on this. I haven't moved at all.
They usually have to do that in May for a spring referendum the following year. So that might be something to find out if the Board of Trustees would consider at their early spring meeting to consider this for a spring referendum.
So
they have to, according to this, the adjustments to the student activity fee will be considered by the board at its May meeting in order to allow sufficient time for student government to conduct a spring referendum. I'm pretty sure that anything except a CPI adjustment has to be approved by the Board of Trustees.
Yeah, it always has to be.
Right.
And it was last time.
They do it in the May meeting for the following spring.
Correct.
So it already was this considered this past May?
No. No, so I don't know what, okay. I guess I'm confused on where you got that impression, because I don't know where you came from with that.
It's in the board policy.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying the last change was made during our executive elections and then implemented in the following May.
That's because it was
It was the CPI.
Right.
Right, so if we're looking to go beyond CPI, that's what I'm saying.
Has to be considered. We have
Has to
to,
be considered and approved by the Board of Trustees, if we're looking to go beyond the CPI.
I thought the last one had to be approved by the Board of Trustees as well.
After the fact, as just a blessing of it. But it has to be approved as I believe that it has to be approved ahead of time if it's beyond CPI. We should just look into it.
I have a meeting with Chair Riley in a week, so it works.
Cool. That concludes the 5-minute discussion. Senator Harvey?
We have 1 minute.
Do I hear a second? Hearing a second, if it's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Any discussion on the motion? Any debate on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adding 1 minute? I said discussion. Debate.
I have to make a motion.
Okay.
We should just make it unlimited and just do it so that a senator can close it, because this adding of minutes is gonna get annoying. So we should just pretend that that's what you said. Is everybody cool with that? Okay.
Any other debate on killing the time limit and just keeping the schedule? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to continue discussion?
What else?
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Seeing, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor of continuing discussion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those abstaining? Seeing a clear non-majority, that fails. That concludes new business. We have nothing on the main motion. I'm now looking for a motion to enter exec sessions.
No, don't do
Yeah, seeing none, there's no executive session. We will now enter a period for special orders and announcements. Any member of UMSG Inc. may address the General Student Senate for not more than 5 minutes. Senator Ball.
Just so everybody remembers this, when it comes to getting the word out on anything that UMSG does or anything that you feel benefits the students,
You're all student leaders, you're all go to class with other students every single day. If you feel like something that we're doing here isn't getting enough traction, or that it might have misinterpretation by the general population or constituency, you're in the position to explain it. You know more about what the student activity fee is and anything like surrounding it than just about anybody else on this campus does. So if they have any questions about it, or you feel like they could benefit from you talking about it, just mention it, talk to your friends about it, talk to other people in your class.
Any other special orders and announcements? Senator Cowan?
There were a lot of wins for sports this week, but there was also a win for the marching band, because the marching band was cool. Same with the cheerleading team, the dancers and the majorettes. The majorettes and the dance team hosted, I wanna say like 60 students from across the state, from dance academies and majorette studios, and they came in and they performed with the band. And that's just really cool, and there's one more home football game that the marching band will be at, and you should be there. It's November 23rd, it's a 1 p.m. kickoff, and it's against UNH, so you should be there.
Representative Blumenauer?
So I mentioned earlier about tabling, I sent the one to me into the, what is it called, the Senate chat. But we changed some of the dates and we're still looking for help. We do tabling for the Maine meal pack out for our fundraising. We come in with usually about $800 just from that. Mind you, meals are 37 cents. So that buys a lot of meals and a lot of boxes for people who need it. So I'll probably send out another one to me just in case, but if anybody is interested in helping, the dates are the 19th, 20th, and the 19th, 21st, and 25th of November, if you want to help table in the union for that. This was a call to action for me by people who are in the Maine Day Meal Pack Out Committee, and I would really appreciate the help. It does go to a really great cause, and I just wanted to put that out there in detail and may send out more about that if anybody is curious. And also, if anybody is just interested in volunteering for that big event in April, I would really love to see everybody here do that. I'll probably reach out to you. But, yeah, that's it.
Any other special orders and announcements? Representative Bland?
Real talk for a minute here, a lot recently, we've been pushing like shortening time more and more. And I think some of that is very good, that we were sort of dragging through the meeting, but we're having like an important discussion on something that affects our lives. A lot of you aren't even paid to be here and are volunteers, and if you're rushing through this meeting, just wanting to be done, especially since we were done so early today, I don't totally understand why you're here. But that's a personal opinion, I think. Remember why you signed up to be here.
Any other special orders and announcements? Representative Demmerich?
Yeah, no, just to build off Representative Balea, I get it, like meetings are long, we are also very tired, and we're also very busy people. But as my coach has said, whenever it comes to our players, we as the players, we should act accordingly on and off the field. And this being on the field, if we're wanting to rush out the doors at, after like an hour and 30 minutes, we're having to discuss about big important things like student activity fee or food and dining fund like stuff, or just very basic stuff that's happening on campus. I don't know, for me personally, it looks in some certain ways kind of not great on ourselves in terms of student government. No, excuse me. Don't mind freaking out about this. It's a basic thing. Students viewing us won't exactly be in the greatest light. So I get it. We're all very busy people. We all get very tired. But please bear in mind about that. We are basically supposed to represent the best in this university as well as ourselves. So just remember that. It's basic minimum is 2 hours long. We go times a little bit more, so a little bit less. But just remember that, people. That's it.
Any other special orders and announcements? VP Lehman?
I forgot to mention this in my report, but Black Bear Cinema sent me a breakdown of like how many people are going to like what movies. So I have an actual breakdown of like how many people are attending specific movies. So if anybody wants that information, talk to me next year, please.
Awesome. Any other special orders and announcements? Representative Guzman.
Yeah, one more thing I forgot to add, the drinks are important too. So, it's gonna be guava and mango, nectar like there was last year, it's gonna be a malt drink. There's gonna be apple cider, which is like the basic plain thing. There's gonna be jarritos, if you are a fan of those, a little Mexican drink. And then maybe we're gonna do, one of those Japanese pop sodas, if we can find them. So. Be ready, y'all, but.
Any other special orders and announcements?
Everybody. Yeah.
Cool, seeing none, I will now ask the clerk to call the final list.
Sylvia Shelmerdine,
Excuse.
Ezekiel Lorne.
Here.
Nate Fay.
Here.
Jordan Thompson.
Here.
Megan Buzzell.